If you go to
Galamsey stop and everything that they gather and sell.
But it came to naught. Because if you go into mining communities to look at what the water bodies look like, spoken about it, look at the export operation, Vanguard operation. For me, the biggest worry would be about how the Ghanaian child living in the hinterlands and sometimes in the most forgotten parts of the country would have an outlook of what a river looks like. Brown. Well, water is supposed to be colorless. And then comes in the Minerals Development Fund.
On 3 FM.
We're here this morning to engage with the administrator of this fund to ask her and to understand what their role is, what they have been up to, and how they are helping in the fight against illegal mining. Dr. Hanna Louisa Bisiw-Kotei is my guest. She's the administrator of the Minerals Development Fund. She's also the National Women's Organizer of the NDC that has formed the government. Doc, good to see you.
Good to see you.
And I like your dress. It's lovely.
It was chosen by Blobby, my husband.
Blobby chose it for you?
Yes.
He has eye for detail. How have you been these days?
God has shown me a lot of mercies. I'm very grateful to him. And we have been working.
For those who do not know what you do, I'm initiated here. What would you say the Minerals Development Fund does?
The Mineral Development Fund was established in 2016, March, by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to redress the negative impact that mining has on the communities, the mining communities, and the people who live in these communities. It didn't come to full operation before we left office.
Right.
And so I'm basically the second administrator.
Okay.
But aside, when you talk about the redress, it's everything that has to do with the community. We're supposed to create alternative livelihood for them, also create programs or jobs that empower them economically, and also to go into the development of these mining communities.
You go around the mining communities and you find young, enthusiastic, bold individuals engaging in illegality. They are not willing to farm. They are not willing to relocate to the urban city centers to also say, we want to find something else to do. They just want to dig the earth and rake in riches. When you meet people like that, what strikes you in your heart?
When I meet people like that, as somebody coming from a village and somebody who lived every village life that you can think of, I look at myself today and I feel that I have a duty as a citizen to perform. I thank God President Mahama appointed me to a fund that has to deal with the communities, the grassroots. It's not that they are not willing to farm. Ahoya, if I mention the name wrong, they should forgive me, where we discovered lithium. Now, my staff, the operation department, went on a working visit, and the farmers have stopped farming. People are building, they've stopped building because they are not too sure when they are going to take over their land. And so they are not encouraged to. So for those living in these mining communities, and sometimes they find foreigners coming in with the excavators and digging everywhere, sometimes forcefully, or sometimes they just take their lands and they use. Then they are not encouraged to do anything because the conditions prevailing are not too conducive for them to even want to go to school or want to farm or do any other thing. So what we have to do as a people is to, redress these issues to now get these communities back to life so that these young ones can also have an opportunity. I'm here today because I was given an opportunity. So these young ones also have to be given an opportunity because I'm sure that we have a lot of the John Mahamas out there in these communities.
Now, this task that you just, narrowed it down, and I know it's wider, demands a lot of hands to achieve. How structured is your office in terms of the human resource and reliable individuals to help you achieve this?
Well, the Mineral Development Fund, that too had, I think, just about
Sunrise
two
on 3FM.
or three,
The
I
best
don't know,
in
direct
recording.
rate. And for us to be able to treat, I said treat because I'm thinking about
medicine and all of that.
treatment and stuff. Because of course, when somebody has SALS, you do the internal treatment. You take in some antibiotics before the external one will be handled.
Yeah, right.
Exactly, and so we had to actually restructure, the administrative nature of this fund. Now we have a full-blown corporate affairs department, and it has a director for corporate affairs. We have head of media, we have IT, we have those social media. I mean, it's a whole corporate, the corporate look of the fund, because the fund is also supposed to be able to present proper proposals to organizations for support.
Right.
And so your corporate body
The
is
outlook
outlook
should be
is
good.
Should be good. It's very important. And this is a fund that cannot do without research. And in fact, we're supposed to be allocating, putting some money aside for research. And so we now, for the first time, and I'll say that this for the first time, that we have a research department, and we have a PhD holder heading the research department.
Right.
He's been seconded from CSIR, and we have young men and women working, under him, researching. As we sit here, I can tell you we've come up together with some of our partners, because we can partner. Strategic partnership is part of it. So what we have been looking at for is the right partners that will near positively to the fund, and in so doing to the communities, and also to whoever is partnering with us. We've come up with an alternative to mercury and cyanide. Soon it will be made, to be put out there. Also with some of our partners, we've been able to demarcate the nation geometrically, spatial demarcation. So as we sit here, we'll be able to tell you where there's active Galamsey going on, where they've dug pits and left the pits open, where the water has been contaminated, diverted, where our forests have been degraded. So we have all that, and we have
based on research.
Based on research. So we come up with that, and we have a very vibrant Department of Operation, and under that we have the mining and community development scheme. Under that we have the alternative livelihood aspect. Then we also have the scholarship scheme. Now we have decided to be working together with our members of parliament, with our MMDCs, with the chiefs. We that too were just like spectators, and of course for communities, that's what we will represent. And now in Mineral Development Fund, we know when to come to work, we don't know when we close. We have a policy that says you don't leave any work behind for tomorrow. So if there's something to be done, except the legal director, the head of legal, the head of legal and head of accounts, those they can, but for the rest of us, including the administrator herself, you cannot leave any document on your table. You cannot be using your personal phone. I mean, you have the phone, but you cannot be talking and doing your personal conversations when you're at work. So we want to start a discipline with us. Sometimes we work on Saturdays, weekends. Sometimes we work on holidays. When we have work to do, we are here. So because of that, now we have a very solid team to move out there and get the work done with a lot of discipline.
You go to the mining sites, you want to end Galamsey. I'm sure that's your foremost thinking. The sector ministers who are also connected want to end Galamsey. The president ultimately wants to end Galamsey. But you go into these mining areas and the guys tell you, look, you will be anywhere but my discussing Galamsey. What alternatives are you creating for them so that once you stop Galamsey, you know that they are going to something else, and then they will not come back?
Okay, so, as you rightly said when you started, you said gather
and sell. That's right.
So it's Galamsey. So it's not the gather and sell that we want to end. What we want to end is the illegal mining. That is what we want to end.
Which includes what, for example?
Illegal mining includes, mining in our forest reserves without, of course, I think the previous administration was giving lease to people to go mine, in the forest. Now we say no. Mining in our water bodies or in and around our water bodies, of course, all those guys, they are doing it illegally. Okay. When we do the mining properly, we'll be able to mine, you cover the pits, you dig, and you plant. So you don't leave the pits and you don't leave the soil to suffer.
Right.
So that's what we are fighting against as we speak. So, of course, when you go to these communities, obviously, if you don't give them the alternatives, they're not going to listen to you. So we are pushing towards the cooperative mining responsibly, and you'll be trained. Those who have the land, you'll be trained how to responsibly mine.
Right.
And of course, you'll be properly licensed or given the right permit to do so. And when it's done, Mineral Development Fund will come in with some of our partners, and they will give you the right training, the equipment, what to use. Because why they dig a lot also is that you find out that they lose a lot. Right. They work so much and they lose a lot. Get so little because of the methods that they use. Again, we have come with one of our partners. We've come up with an alternative to that. So once the government and all the various agencies we accept for the cooperative mining, we will be introducing that to our brothers and sisters who will be doing it, and we'll be teaching them also to plant. If it's a land that is off forest, we'll be encouraging them to be doing coconut, because now coconut gives a lot of money and it's a proper alternative. Aside that, we'll be giving scholarships, national scholarships and international scholarships as well. Yeah, we've established a scholarship scheme for the first time, of course, and we'll be training.
From the MDF?
From MDF, right. Yes, MDF. And MDF, we will be training people in drone piloting and assembling. We will, with one of our partners, he's a pilot himself, a pilot of a plane,
a proper pilot.
Yeah, I don't want to use a proper, because soon these young guys from the mining communities will be
should we say
pilots.
Aeroplane driver?
Yes. Aeroplane. And so we'll be launching it at the Comfy, because that's where we're going. It's going to be in the biggest training center in the sub-region, and we'll be training about 5,000 young men and women from these communities. We don't want to just train them and let them go, and we don't want to also stay with the status quo where it's learn how to do hairdressing and sewing. As my national chairman will say, if everybody is sewing, who
wear whose others' clothes.
Exactly, and what helped us also is that we did not just that we sat down and we went back to history to see what has been done over the years and why those things did not work. So we tried
you have a plan, was it?
We had exactly. So these young ones, when they graduate, they'll be given proper certification.
Okay.
That makes them professional in that, and there are job openings for them outside. So let's say if I'm in a mining community and I see a young lady or a young man who was with me in the trenches, and today he's, let's say, in Germany, Holland, or somewhere in Europe, flying drones, agricultural drones, in the agriculture sector, and is making it. Why not? I'll also push for site training as well. We will be going into aquaculture.
Okay.
And we'll be training about 1,000 young ones a year. That is what we are projected for. And then the fund itself will establish 100,000 capacity fish farm, it's the value chain. You know, we set up the processing also for the fish, and we've already negotiated for offtake. We also be doing the present John Roman Mahma.
I see. How does that fit into the narrative? That's right.
Okay, it's also part of the alternatives that we have. So, see, why we will not go straight into, let's say, we want the planting of coconut and palm, if that's the case. Well, I've not mentioned the palm trees because my predecessor in the books, they said they've planted 191,000 acres of palm plantations.
Did you find a farm?
We are yet to find a farm. So
I don't understand.
Yeah, because the one who was in charge was not able to just tell you one place. We're not able to give you the proper, location.
So we spent money for
the monies are gone.
The plantation.
Exactly, because
but
remember,
you can't find the farm.
Yeah. So remember, if
but the farm is supposed to be seen by everybody, oh?
Yeah. So millions of CDs have gone into that.
Right.
Okay. And if it's true that we really did have 191,000 acreage of this as a fund.
Right.
By now, Ghana should be somewhere else when it comes to that. But we're engaging auditors, external auditors, for them to audit. And by the grace of God, my predecessor is still around, and the one that he put in charge is also there. So it should be easy for us. We want to do something different, and when we engage in coconut, for instance, it means that the community where we give the seedlings to, it becomes community property.
Right.
But we'll be following to make sure when it's done, every benefit of coconut, we will get it, and it will be for the community.
Let's talk about the efforts that are being put together to get this. But something that struck me, I saw this thinking man sitting on a rock on this black platform. Why do you have this in your office? Are you a miner yourself?
Obviously, I call myself Galamsey Administrator because I have to work for, I'm supposed to serve these communities where mining, all sort of mining goes on, large, small, legal, illegal, whatever. And so when you go to these mining communities, so you can just say, this is a man, this is a rock. Okay, from this rock, you mine. From this rock, you dig, whether with excavator, shovel, or anyhow, or the proper deep mining. And see, when you go to these sites, you find something they call the black soil.
Okay.
Black, it's a black, so it's black. When they go and dig so much, and they destroy so much, they come home with some black sand.
A quantum of black.
Quantum of black. Then that is what they bring and they wash. Then they have something they call the name will come. Instead, I found out that name, and that is what it sticks. They say that's what catches the gold. And after that, you see that it's white. Then they'll boil or heat it, whatever they do, and they'll get something gold out there. So when you are up here, you are thinking of what to do. This gentleman here is really, really thinking how to get proper, do a proper mining, a responsible mining, and come to something, what you are shifting away is to, not to come to this black, what they call black, that you pack and send to your house and go and hustle and wash. What other alternative can I get? I have this. I know there's gold. What alternative can I get so that I'll be able to produce and have a high yield instead of this black? So this reminds me as administrator what actually prevails in these communities that I'm required to serve. And it also will let you know that you can't work enough, or you cannot, to rest should be a luxury, and not to work should be a sin to you. So for me, that is a reminder of what prevails there: the rock, the black, and the thinking man who wants to do the right thing.
Okay. Yesterday I saw you in the news doing some Rambo things in the news in the Ashanti region.
Okay, so I don't know whether whilst I was talking, I spoke about the spatial geometric demarcation of Ghana.
Right.
MDF, with one of our partners, we've done that. That one, we properly will launch it, Or whatever we do now, we want people to know what we're doing. We want the fund to be as transparent as possible, and for people to also know that, yes, there's something that is going on.
Right.
So we know exactly where active illegal mining is happening as we sit here. We know the emerging hotspots. That gives us good information ahead so that the emerging hotspots, we move in, we engage the communities.
Right.
Then we find out what best we can do so that they don't go destroying. We educate them also about, all the destruction or the damage or the negative impact of illegal mining in their life, so that from the onset, they know they don't have to. So then we know where pollution is. The forests that have been destroyed, we can show you right here from MDF. So based on that, we've started our community engagement. Because you see, if any doctor decides to treat a patient based on just the symptoms, then the doctor will be, it will be like pouring water in a basket or pouring water in a container with a hole.
Right.
Okay. Because you never get it full. So that's why when you go to the hospital, you say, okay, I have fever, I have this. They may give you something to bring down the fever, but the ultimate is to find out what is really causing the fever.
Right.
So you go to a lab, and after lab, you have a confirmative diagnosis. So they can presume you have some sort of presumptive diagnosis.
That's right.
So if you bring it to where I'm serving, when you go to a community and you see the community deteriorate and children are not going to school, you find all sorts of people with all manner of funny diseases.
Right.
Women are now having malformed babies and all that. Then you know that there's a main cause. Okay? And so we went last week. Let me help myself and mention the names of these communities. I have a lawyer, a very good lawyer. This lawyer, I love the lawyer.
I can bet this is Rod Mingo's creation.
And so last week, okay, we went to the one I've written because I want to, as much as possible, mention
the exact names.
The names. Well, we went to Adubawura.
Okay. Where's that?
Adubawura. I'm going to mention Adubawura, Enyamwa, Ntobroso, Achiase, and Akomfre.
Right.
That's in the Atrima Mpunya district.
In the Ashanti region.
The Ashanti region. We started our work from the Ashanti region. And we went also to Kobing, the Atrimangwea Beja municipality. Then we went to Kositie, Achiase again in the Ahafo, and North South West district.
Right.
Now, these were communities that we went to engage. And as we went there, at the Atrima Mpunya district, we met them at Adubawura. So all these other 4 communities came.
Right.
Some from Akomfre could not come. The other side of the
So they came to a central location.
So
you could engage them.
Yeah, for us to engage them. And so as we went on with our discussions, we got their problems. We told them who we are, and they were happy to see us. And we told them what the president wants to do.
Did they say you are worrying them?
Not at all. They were happy, but I think that they were also trying to blame government for some of the things. And so we really promised them that we're going to come back because president wants to, redress every negative impact that this mining, being illegal is having on them. And they said to us that some people from Akomfri couldn't even come because they are on the other side of Ofen. And this illegal mining, of course, today we call illegal mining Galamsey. That's why I said Galamsey.
There's a difference.
There's a difference, you know. You could not be doing the gather, because I don't even think it's gather and sell. I don't know what they are doing, but, you know, so.
It's dig and find.
Dig and find and do whatever you want to do. So we listened to them carefully and said, okay, we'll come back. We come back, try, and these are the things we have for you. In fact, we set up, we asked Assemblyman, they are forming Friends of Mineral Development Fund.
Right.
It means that these Friends of Mineral Development Fund will be helping Mineral Development Fund there. But we'll be having our local management committees also set up. And we put a lot of structures in place. It's not every one of them I want to say on air, because we'll be using them for a lot of intelligent work. So when we went to Kobing, and when we went to the Mankransu area, the Achansi area, I think it was the third day, we had our intel, and we did we spoke with certain people. By the time we went there, the Chinese, in fact, they were cooking.
The Chinese people?
Yeah, they were cooking, but they left,
in the bush, cooking food?
In the village.
Forest?
In the villages.
In the village, to eat? They live there?
They live there. Johnny, one day I'll carry you along. Only that is a bit dangerous, but I'll carry you.
No, I fear no fool.
Okay. You see, when you go, I mean, because we try to say, okay, you know, we are going here, oh, let's go. People started giving leads. Right. So as we got there, let me look at this last village. Let me mention that one. Kositi Achiansi in the Southwest District. Okay. We're gonna go to the site because it's a huge, beautiful forest that they are destroying. Right. On the road we couldn't because the whole place was muddy, it had rain. And then we found a brand new excavator. Brand new. When I say brand new, in the bush. In the bush. Yes. So this is what it tells us, that it means that they are far from stopping the destruction. New investments are being made, capital injection. When I say brand, you see the silver metals were shining. You see all the plastic around the seed. They packed it in the bush. So we said, if you can't go, going back to where they live. By the time we got there, they were gone. And you know, they were gone. We broke into the house. It's a house, and they fenced it with roofing sheets. Right. They sleep on plywoods. They don't even invest in bed. But they were eating, they were boiling something, they just offered. So everything was hot. They are covered. And they ran into the bush. They ran into the bush. And we took passports, we took phones.
Rise on 3FM, the best in the morning.
We took like boxes that we couldn't open with the cameras and the police. I asked them, they should pack everything, so they turned everything in. And we also have somebody who also reads, writes, and understands
Mandarin.
The Chinese language very well. Right. So they have their book of records and everything. In fact, that group, we even found who, the document, who invited them into the country and who sent them there. So that is something.
Oh, you found that?
Yes, we did. We have a lot of information. We did.
Are you pursuing it, by the way?
You can trust me, Johnny. Mineral Development Fund, we are the voice of these mining communities. Okay. If even some of them support them now, it's just like your child not knowing that something that he or she is taking will harm them. It's dangerous for their health or life. And so you take it and you start crying. Okay? But eventually, they will understand. I said that when I was a child, my mom told me, you're a woman. Once I was running, I got a sword. They said, you're a woman. So don't be running around and getting swords. And I thought my mom was not making sense because by the time I grabbed the sword, would have gone, cured, healed. Little did I know that sword will leave me a scar. And that scar is on my knee. So I've kept it as a lesson. And so for us, there's nothing that we start that will not pursue because it's for the community. And that's the only way that whatever president gives us, and when you go into partnership, it can actually make real meaning or real sense of development and economic empowerment to them. So we decided to lay our own ambush in our own various ways.
Unannounced visits.
Unannounced. And trust me, we are not going to announce anything again to anybody.
Because the first time you did, people snitched on you.
Yes.
Some people ran away.
Yeah, but we caught two Indians.
So now it's unannounced.
Yeah.
But yesterday I saw you in a video. There's a police commander who was not too happy. Or was he happy? Was he praising you? What was he doing in that video?
That police commander, that's a police commander. You know, we went there and we went in a very different style. The Land Cruisers and stuff were not there.
Okay.
So we went, I don't want to divulge that on
Don't, actually.
We went in our own different style. We have different sets of style. In fact, as we speak, we live in those communities. That's what they do. We live in those communities. And to those finest, we live with you. We are there.
That's Johnny's
You
life.
don't know.
We live with the people.
Yeah, we live.
But they
That's
don't know we live with them.
No, they don't know we live with them. Okay? And so by 5 a.m., we're already there. In fact, Wednesday, we came to work. We didn't go back. Those who were supposed to go with me, we didn't go back home. Nobody, including my bodyguard, nobody knew where we were going.
You came to work on Wednesday.
Yes, and we didn't go back.
You didn't go back to Mr. Kotei.
No, Mr. Kotei, Lieutenant Commander Kotei, he's serving the U.S. Navy now, so he said I should serve Ghana now.
Okay, so you came to work. You didn't go home.
No.
You stayed here on Wednesday.
Yeah, so, and
then by 5:30 a.m., you're knocking on people's doors.
Yeah, and you know, they were told, that we'll be going somewhere that day.
Okay. The people who came to work.
Yeah.
So they had no chance of telling anybody, and they didn't know where they were going.
Where they were going. They knew we were going somewhere. We heading towards Ashanti region. As to where, no. So we got to where we had to get to, wherever we had to change over from our cars to whatever means that took us to these communities we did. But already we had our own advanced team there about 3-4 days there already, you know, and we waited because we know how they were. If you go to the field, these Chinese, they jump in the bush and they run faster than anything.
You see both the bush for.
And so we waited. We know how they operate. We studied the rhythm. We studied the, you know, and we have also a coordinator also in the Ashanti region.
Okay.
Yes, but now we've established regional coordinators. We are very, very careful in selecting who becomes a regional coordinator because we are not ready to compromise. President Mahama has made it a point that he is going to make illegal mining unattractive. And we who represent these communities, and we want him to give us more money for development, we want to be attractive to development partners for them to come and partner us. We have to do our work well. So we got there and we chanced on these guys. In fact, it wasn't like, some of them were bad. The amount of 100 meters that we had to go in the village.
You had to run after them.
Look, wow. You know Guinea Fowl. No, I confirm that's right. You know how they go.
The factory. Yes.
The Chinese people, So we said, as for today, that we are ice gang. Last time, some of them jump in the bush and they go missing. And so we've got you like this.
They have come to learn how our country looks like.
Yes.
The forest.
Yes.
They jump into the bush.
And the
Ghanaians can't find them.
You can't find them. And I said, look, we've not slept. So this one, not lie. So we caught them. Got 7 of them. And I think one or so escaped with a Tacoma. And we went there to do what we had to do. And we went to the site. Of course, there are 2 places. They have a proper filling station in the middle of the forest. And
Pardon?
Yes. And at that point...
There's a filling station?
Yes.
In the heart of the forest?
Yes. And
owned by who?
By the Chinese. By the Chinese. But we one name that we don't want to put out now has come up as to who brought them there.
Right.
So that is what we're going to pursue. So where the filling station is,